Joy Williams is a dedicated art teacher at one of 23 Arts Achieve model schools in the state of Florida. These schools have agreed to open their door to visitors who wish to enhance and or affirm that school's art education practices.
Awesome. Excellent.
I've had a good day working with my students and having them meet Beth Erland, who is a professional artist, making a living with batik, and they were just amazed that this could be done.
Beth is a master of the art of batik. She learned the Indonesian method of batik while in Japan. In addition to the janting tool and brushes for applying the wax, Beth uses and recommends carrying a small pad for daily watercolor sketches. Beth is also the author and illustrator of 3 children's books. Here come the students.
What's today's date? Today is 6.
I did let them know that you are talented students, that you do understand some of the basics of, primary colors, etc., because Ms. Erland uses primary colors for her dyes, and that we went over a little bit about batik, but nowhere near what she can teach us. She can tell us also about ArtFest downtown and how to sell art. So any questions that you have, or that you guys have sketch work as homework and sometimes wonder why I make you sketch something over and over or from a different angle, and she's going to give you a little sense of how she uses her sketches.
Put a real simple design and then we'll go over there and we'll dye it.
Really? Yeah. I wanted to say hi.
You can use these now. These are good. You can use a brush. You can try the. You just need to get a feel for what it feels like to do it.
It's so hard to draw. I thought there was one that was like all coily. I know.
I have a thing like that too, but I didn't bring it. I only have one of those, and I had it. I bought it in Scotland actually. Okay, you take that heart and just take it over here. We're going to go over here with it. Let somebody else come in there and let's go dye it.
The students have made their simple graphic drawings using the janting tool and brushes. Here they add color to their drawings by painting on the dyes. It looks like we have a selection of hearts.
The brush off before you go from one part to the next. Yeah, you can color it in, and it'll just color in all your letters here, and then you keep color. You need to put a paper towel.
And I see at least one flower.
Okay, use this brush. Rinse it off real good with water. Get it wet, and then take the one color.
I learned a lot from this experience for my first time. I thought it was really cool because I didn't really think you could do art out of just wax. I've never seen that before until a week ago when the teacher started explaining it. And she really made it clear that you have to make sure the wax goes through and stuff so that you can see it. And it was really cool.
As artist Beth Erland was working with her students, art teacher Joy Williams graciously gave me a few minutes of her class time to talk about her favorite subjects, art and her students.
Good morning, Joy. How are you this morning?
I'm awesome. How are you?
Oh, wow. Awesome. Excellent.
I've had a good day working with my students and having them meet Beth Erland, who is a professional artist, making a living with batik, and they were just amazed that this could be done. So I had an awesome morning.
It's been a terrific morning. I've enjoyed this. It's been great. It really has. Seeing her in action, watching the students, and wondering why this doesn't happen more often, and why can't it happen more often, and what do we need to do to make it happen more often. The input from you on that.
Well, it is a blessing that we have ArtFest here in our town that coordinates artists coming into the schools. It's something that My students will read about masterpieces and maybe go to a museum. We're lucky in that way that we're an Arts Achieve school. Some students have no access whatsoever to such experiences. In fact, where I live, the closest museum is 50 miles away, and most parents in the social economic groups that we serve here in our school don't have the extra cash to go to a museum. It would have cost them $13 for each student, as well as the parents and the cost of transportation. So it's something that is unfortunately going away in schools, that they don't get that access to seeing real art being made. There are screenwriters, there are artists, there are poets, there are musicians that cannot contain the power that's within them and must create. I truly believe that I can encourage as a teacher any student to be an artist, but a student that wants to be an artist, that has that drive inside them, there's nothing you can do to stop them.
It's going to happen.
If their parents deny it, if their teachers say it doesn't look like whatever they're saying, it's going to come out. They're going to have that. So that passion is primary. And we have that in America. What we don't have is always the recognition. There are groups like the Kennedy Center, the Museum for Women Artists, that is solely for our women artists in D.C. There are groups that recognize it. I look at Faith Ringgold as far as the exodus during the Civil War and the leaving of slavery. Every heritage in America, and there are so many different heritages, has a story that has been passed down verbally, orally, from their parents, their grandparents, their great-grandparents. And it is part of them. Every person has their own story. And we unfortunately start to treat everybody exactly the same by their race, their gender, by their age. These middle school students that you just watched, every single one of them has a different story, whether they have a custody battle in their family, whether they lost a friend to suicide, whether they are the daughter of a doctor or the daughter of a plumber, or don't know who their parents were.
Everybody has a story.
Everyone. And unfortunately, sometimes I think we start getting wrapped up in our own worlds and we forget about those students have already been through more than we ever imagined in college. And so an art class is so important in the school that it is a place where they're not just having their heads fed with a story that was written by someone else, or a song that was written by someone else, or the math equations by Euclidean geometry, but they are expressing.
It's their opportunity to
let it out, to have it come out. And yet I still put science into my art. I talk about how color is light, that it's reflecting these wavelengths, that this color of red is only red because it's coming back to your eyeball, and all of the other light waves are absorbed by that. Euclidean geometry would not exist if he had not written it down on clay tablets and it had been baked in a kiln. They would not have found it in archaeology. So science and art, you look at the Fibonacci spiral inside of Da Vinci's Mona Lisa. There is a connection between math and art. There is a connection between math and music. And I think that artists see the world holistically, that we know those combinations, and unfortunately the school systems tend to break it down into this is only your science class or your math class or your English class, and the curriculum could be all across the board and be able to feed each other.
And probably so much more exciting.
It is. My next project with my kids is we're taking 2-liter bottles and painting them, and then we're going to put them on an air compressor and shoot them up into the air. So it's a rocket, it's a
you're combining it all.
Force and mass. Yes.
Okay, excellent.
So even if you're not at an Arts Achieve school, you can think outside the box and not just make it about drawing and painting, because I think it happened to me in that my students came to me and said, I don't know why I'm in art class, I don't draw, I can't draw. And I said, and you're 14, are you going to get a driver's license? Yeah, I'm going to get a driver's license. I said, well, that's a shame that Ferrari's going to sit in the garage. And they're like, what are you talking about? I said, well, you can't drive right now, right? And they're like, yeah, but, you know, I'm going to be a rapper, I'm going to have my Ferrari. I was like, that's great. You're an NFL player or rapper, and you have that car, but it's going to sit in the garage. What are you talking about, Miss Williams? I'm going to drive that car. The ladies are going to be looking at me. I said, you can't drive now, so you're never going to be able to drive. I said, so it's like drawing. You can't draw now, so you can never learn to. Ah, and the light bulb went on that maybe in elementary they couldn't. Yeah, but it is something you can learn, and I'm glad my kids today learned how to do the dye and the batik that Miss Erlin showed them, something they'd never ever even imagined in their head before this weekend.
And that was exactly what they said. I'd never even thought about it. And I loved it. It was fun. I don't remember her name, but she's ready to do a t-shirt. She is ready to go with it. You received an award.
Yes.
And that was for?
I was Art Teacher of the Year. That was 2 years now. Art Teacher for our district. Yes. Thank you for mentioning that. Thank you. Thank you. And it was awarded, nominated by my peers and awarded by the district. So it was very special to me.
Joy Williams speaks very passionately about art in the classrooms and wants to open everyone's eyes to the power and importance of art in the development of children's motor skills, hand and eye coordination, intellectual creativity, memory, creative problem-solving skills, and other skills that are not only used by artists but by scientists, entrepreneurs, inventors, and other creators.
I talked about the power of art with our school board. We were having some cuts in the schools, and we were afraid that they would cut art and music. So we wanted to talk about how art really affects a child socially, intellectually, and physically. And sometimes students, especially students that have had problems with fine motor skills, will find art the place where they can actually have some therapeutic use of paintbrushes and things to be able to develop those skills. Things that you think of for video games or sports, the same kind of fine motor skills are needed in art when you're creating clay or painting. Socially, the students may be asked to be nice to each other, but when they have to help each other clean up or work together in teams, it really is a place to learn how to respect your peers and how to get along with each other. So art, respect your peers and how to get along standpoint as well.